In this session, we will discuss the principle of operation, how actually the synchronous generator works, and also we will derive the EMF equation. This principle of operation of a generator and the EMF equation are derived from Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. We know that the Faraday's first law states that when the flux linking with a conductor changes or the conductor cuts the magnetic field, there is a induced voltage. So that is the principle of operation. In the case of synchronous generator, the field is rotating and the conductors are stationary. Thereby, the rotating magnetic field cuts the stationary armature conductors. There is a induced voltage. That is how there is a induced voltage in a synchronous generator. Then the EMF equation, to derive the EMF equation means the Faraday's second law gives the magnitude of induced voltage that is proportional to rate of change of flux. Based on the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, we will explain the principle of operation and also will derive the EMF equation. Start with the principle of operation. The rotor of the generator is driven by prime mover, means we are getting a mechanical energy which is converted into electrical energy. That is, the mechanical energy in the form of rotation is given to the rotor. That is why it is written as the rotor of the generator is driven by the prime mover. Then a DC current is flowing in the rotor winding, that is a field winding, that is producing the magnetic flux. In turn, the rotor is rotating by a mechanical input, then there is a rotating magnetic field is producing. The rotating magnetic field that induces a three-phase voltage in the three-phase stator winding of the generator. The principal operation is very simple. The rotor is driven by the prime mover. The rotor consists of the field, that is electromagnet. It is excited by a DC that producing the magnetic flux. The rotor is driven by a mechanical energy. Then the conductors are placed in the stator. They are in the three-phase. It is a three-phase synchronous generator. There are three windings in which there is a induced voltage. There is a statically induced voltage is inducing in the armature winding because the conductors are stationary and the field is rotating. Can see here, this is a prime mover. With the help of prime mover, we are driving the rotor so that the rotor rotating, whereas this is the rotor system, that is a field system. It is excited by a DC. It is excited by DC so that it can produce the magnetic field. If it start rotating, there are three windings, that is it is represented by phase A, phase B and phase C. Then when it start rotating and it is producing a magnetic flux, it goes on cutting the magnetic conductors here, stationary conductors. Thereby there is an induced voltage in phase A, phase B and phase C. All these three windings are similar. The magnitude of induced voltage in all the three phases is the same. This is how there is an induced voltage in the stationary armature conductors by Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. Then we have to determine what is the frequency of induced voltage. There are two things we have to see here. One is what is the frequency of induced voltage and what is the magnitude of induced voltage. The first we will take up electrical frequency. Consider here I am considering 4-pole machine and there is a rotor. I am considering a single conductor. When these conductors start rotating, when it is moving from here to here, that is from one interpolar axis to another interpolar axis, or it is under the influence of n pole, there is half cycle of induced voltage is inducing here. Then when it is moving from here to here, the another half cycle of induced voltage is inducing, but in the opposite direction, because it will come under the influence from N to S pole, the direction of the induced voltage will change. Then once again, when it is come from the influence of S to N pole, from here to here, there is another positive cycle of induced voltage is inducing here. Then lastly, then when it is moving from here to here, once again there is another half cycle of induced voltage is inducing. Means here we are getting, that is one cycle of induced voltage, then there is another cycle of induced voltage. In the case of 4-pole machine, in all how many cycles we are getting? We are getting 4 cycles. Means if the number of poles are 4, then you are getting 2 cycles of the induced voltage. If you have got 8 poles, then we are getting 4 cycles of induced voltage in one revolution. Based on that, we will establish the relation for the electrical efficiency. I am considering here the rotation of a conductor for one revolution and what is the time taken for one revolution. Then we are defining our electrical frequency, that is the frequency is number of cycles per second. Number of cycles per second. But in this case, I am considering number of cycle is 1. Then what is the time taken for one revolution? So that I can establish the relation for frequency. You can see here. For one revolution of a conductor, a number of cycles induced EMF. I told you that is half cycle here, half cycle here, half cycle here, and another half cycle. Means totally we are getting the 2 cycles. For 4-pole we are getting 2 cycle. Therefore, it is exactly half of the number of poles. Therefore, for one revolution of a conductor, number of cycle induced EMF in general, what I am putting here is, it is P by 2. Then for one revolution, what is the time taken? Time taken for one revolution is, the speed is n RPM, that is the revolutions per minute, or n revolutions per 60 seconds. Then the time taken for one revolution is 60 by n. Then the frequency formula is simple. It is a one cycle I am taking. Therefore, I am putting how many cycles you are producing in a one revolution. It is a P by 2. Then what is the time taken? It is 60 by n. So that F is equal to cycle by time. The cycles of induced voltage for one revolution is P by 2. Time is 60 by n. That I am putting here. That is, F is the frequency, P is the number of poles. Therefore, F is equal to, I am putting here, F is equal to, that is cycles is P by 2, then the time is 60 by n. Therefore, if you are changing the numerator and denominator, that is replacing all those things, then what we are getting after simplification, it is Pn by 120. Therefore, the frequency is equal to, F is equal to Pn by 120. That is, the frequency of the induced voltage is depending upon the number of poles. Also at the same time, it is the number of the speed of the rotor. That is, the frequency F is equal to Pn by 120. This is how we have to determine the frequency of the induced voltage. Then we will derive the generated voltage or EMF equation of an alternator or a synchronous generator. Alternator is nothing but a 3-phase synchronous generator. Then some of the nomenclature for this EMF equations are, one is the flux. That is, the flux is useful flux per pole. That is a flux which is producing by the each pole. It is not a total flux. It is a flux produced per pole. Therefore, it is represented in terms of Webers. The P is the total number of poles. ZP, you can keenly observe here, the total number of conductors is different. It is a total, suppose if there are 300 conductors, and the conductors per phase, because you are considering here 3-phase synchronous generator, the number of conductors per phase, 300 is the total conductor, that is represented by Z. Whereas ZP is the conductor per phase, because you are deducing the equation for per phase basis. You are deriving the EMF equation per phases. If you want line, then you have to multiply root 3 if it is star connected from phase value to line value. ZP is the total number of conductors or coil sides in series per phase. These are the conductors per phase. Then the TP is the total number of coils or turns per phase. While deriving the equation, what is the relation between Zp and what do you mean by the turn, what do you mean by the conductor. Okay, you can, at this point you have to remember Zp is the total number of conductors or coil sides in series per phase, whereas Tp is the total number of turns per phase. N is the speed of the machine and F is the frequency of the generated voltage. Already we have established a relation. Then here three factors are there. Here is one is called as a coil span factor. What do you mean by that? Also I am discussing. Then Kd is the distribution factor. Then the product of Kc and Kd, it is called as the winding. These are the nomenclature we are using in the EMF equation. That is phi, P, Zp, Tp, N, F, Kc, Kd and Kw. Then here I am considering a 4-pole machine. Then we will generalize this. Then I am considering a single conductor. I am considering here single conductor. Once again I am considering for a single revolution, and the flux produced by the each pole is phi here, another phi here, phi here, phi here. Then the EMF equation were derived from Faraday's second law. It is a rate of change of flux. Then what I am considering here for a single revolution, what is the flux cut by a conductor for a single conductor, then divided by what is the time taken for a single revolution. Then we have to generalize for the number of conductors and the number of poles. First up, I will consider here, you can see here, the flux produced by N pole is phi. Flux produced by the S is also phi. And flux produced by another N pole is also phi. Then S pole is also phi. Okay. The total flux which is produced by 4-pole machine is phi, phi, phi. Then if this conductor is rotating through one revolution, the flux cut by single conductor is phi here, the another phi here, another phi here, another phi here. Means in one revolution the single conductor cuts 4 phi. Means if there are n number of conductors or p number of conductors, and what is the total flux cut? It is p into phi. Here it is a 4-pole each producing flux of phi. In one revolution the flux cut by a single conductor in one revolution is generally it is represented by p into phi, because it is known here. It is phi here, phi here, phi here, phi here. Means 4 pi. It is for 4-pole machine. If it is the p number of the poles general, in that case the total flux cut by a single conductor in a single revolution is p into phi. The same thing I am written here, since the flux per pole is phi, each stator conductor cuts a flux of p into phi. Then the average value of generated voltage per phase, what we are considering here is the average induced voltage. Okay, then we are converting that into RMS value. It is, we are deriving the generated voltage per conductor here. Here we know the Faraday's law, flux cut per revolution in Weber divided by time taken for one revolution in second. Okay, it is what is the, I am considering one revolution here. What is the flux cut? It is p into phi. Then what is the time taken for that? It is 60 by n. It is p by phi divided by 60 by n. That is what we are getting is pi p n by 60. This is average value of the induced voltage in a single conductor. It is the average value. Then if you are multiplying and dividing the two to this equation, what I am getting here is, it is, you are multiplying and dividing by 2, that is 2 pi pn divided by 120. Then I know that is pn by 120. Pn by 120 is nothing but the frequency f. Therefore pn by 120 is replaced by f. Therefore it is 2 pi f. That is, you are considering what we are getting is E average per conductor is 2 pi f. That is, for single conductor, the average induced voltage is 2 pi f volts. Then if there are ZP number of conductors, per phase, therefore E average per phase is 2 f pi into ZP, what we are getting. Then if you are converting the number of conductors into number of the turns, then it is the ZP is equal to 2 times the number of turns. Okay, I will explain what you mean by the turn. Okay, then at this stage you can remember that ZP is equal to 2p. ZP is equal to 2p. Okay, I will explain. Then what I am interested here, what we are calculating here, the induced voltage, the average induced voltage per phase, that is 4f5 into Tp. But what we are interested is the RMS value of induced voltage. Therefore, to convert average value into RMS value, what you have to multiply is 1.11. Therefore, what I am getting is 1.11 into 4f5 into Tp. Therefore, what I am getting is 4.445 FTP volts. Then, if the windings are short pitch winding and distributed winding, that is what I defined is Kc and Kd. If these are the windings, Kc, the windings of the alternator is connected in short pitch, and also they are distributed winding, then the RMS value of the induced voltage, that is what I am getting here is, if the windings are short pitch and also distributed winding, then what you have to do is you have to multiply these factor to this RMS value, ERMS value, so that general equation for EP what we are getting is 4.44 Kc into Kd phi FTP, because these are determining the magnitude of the induced voltage for short pitch winding as well as distributed winding. If you want a line value from this, because we know that the alternators are connected in star, therefore the line voltage is equal to root 3 times the phase voltage. Then I am telling here that is a relation between Zp and Tp. There is a one conductor, there is another conductor, there are two conductors here. Therefore, if you are connecting the two conductors, it is forming a turn. It is called as a turn. That is, it is single turn. It is consist of two conductors. You can observe here, there are 10 conductors. There are 10 conductors. How many turns you are getting? 5. If you know the 5 turns, what is the number of conductors? That is a 10 conductors. Therefore, the number of conductors is equal to 2 times the number of turns. The turns is nothing but it is consist of two conductors. Therefore, if you want to replace Zp by Tp, therefore Zp is equal to 2p, you have to replace and you have to get it. Then regarding Kc and Kd, just I will giving a small the explanation for this. That is the angular displacement between N and S is 180 degree electrical. Therefore, if the coil side is nothing but bunch of conductors, they are placed between N and S, then the phase displacement exactly it is, the span is 180 degree. They are connected here, it is become a coil here, then it is a coil, then the span is 180 degree, then this winding is called as full pitch winding. Whereas if the coil span is less than 180 degree, then it is called as short pitch winding. It is called as a short pitch winding. This is a full pitch winding, this is short pitch winding. In the next session, once again we will discuss full pitch winding and short pitch winding, and what are the importance of these full pitch winding and the short pitch winding we will see. At the same time, we will solve some numericals on EMF equation.